Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us at Fujitsu Activate Now 2021 today. We would like to introduce sustainable manufacturing, which is one of the 7 focus areas of Fujitsu Uvance announced this time. Our customers and guests who have been invited today are already on the journey towards sustainable manufacturing, which Fujitsu defines as where people and the planet coexist in harmony. What do we mean by the VUCA era? It's an era where there is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. The aim being is to lead in an era of VUCA. We all sit under the umbrella term sustainable manufacturing, seeking a better and safer planet Earth for all. Today's session is about Fujitsu sharing its experiences with you, but we would also love to hear back from you about your experiences and your corporate direction in seeking a planet where manufacturing remains sustainable for all, from manufacturers to partners and all the way to customers. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Shunsuke Onishi, Executive Vice President, Fujitsu Limited, who will host and present this session. Mr. Onishi, what does Fujitsu mean by sustainable manufacturing in the VUCA era, manufacturing in harmony with the planet?
Yes, hello. I'm Onish, and I work for Fujitsu. Thank you for your time today. We have defined 7 key focus areas to build new possibilities by connecting people, technologies, and ideas, creating a more sustainable world where anyone can advance their dreams. As one of the 7 key focus areas in manufacturing, we have established sustainable manufacturing. We have done this to achieve circular and traceable manufacturing that builds the environment people in mind while continuing the capability to produce. In the VUCA era, the path to survival is to remain flexible and swift to respond to unpredictable changes that are unforeseen and that we have not faced before. What priorities should management set up in the world of increasing uncertainty and diversity? What kind of effort is required? I would like to tell you about our thought of the vision for the future of manufacturing, sustainable manufacturing, as a member of the manufacturing.
Thank you, Mr. Onishi. I see. That is the vision for the future of manufacturing that Fujitsu considers. In the latter half of this session, I would like to hear more detail from Mr. Onishi. Now we'll hear messages from 3 influencers for the future toward realizing sustainable manufacturing. Our first very special guest today is Mr. Romain Apert, Global CIO, Mars Wrigley.
Thank you. A VUCA world is a world that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, which is arguably the world we are living in right now. And the reason manufacturers should pay attention is the following. If you look at the CPG industry, its value creation model has been fairly stable over the past 50 years, with the increasing adoption of globalized and standardized portfolio of solutions and services. And this approach has been very successful until recently. Indeed, and mainly due to the VUCA nature of our world, such value creation model has been faltering over the past few years as a result of consumers, customers, suppliers, government, pretty much all stakeholders going through significant transformation. The challenge is therefore to reinvent a new value creation model, which requires manufacturers to foster a new culture of exploration, powered by consumer centricity, innovation, and agility, in order to stay relevant and competitive in such an increasing VUCA world. So when it comes to selling products, the main challenge is being zero distance to the consumer. And to do so, we have leveraged over the past 4 years a dedicated user centricity team to better understand consumers' shifting preferences and behaviors. For example, with the acceleration of digital commerce or the explosion of healthy food proposition. When it comes to making product, the main challenge is to manage unprecedented headwinds to reconcile supply with demand, whether it's related to changing consumer needs or, most recently, due to a number of end-to-end supply challenges, including COVID-19, shortage of raw materials, labor cost inflation, and so on. So what we are doing to overcome this challenge is a transformation of our supply chain, in which digital has a big role to play, not only in terms of data and analytics, to understand, via control towers, what is happening across the entire value chain, but also in terms of adjusting to rapidly changing conditions, using artificial intelligence in demand planning, as well as using digital twins. On October 5th, Mars Incorporated has announced its pledge to set a new science-based climate target to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions across its full value chain by 2050, aligning with the most ambitious aim of the Paris Agreement to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. This approach, which will differentiate us from much of our peer set, will focus on absolute emissions reduction across our entire greenhouse gas footprint, including all Scope 3 emissions, such as those created by suppliers and customers, and setting 5-year milestones to drive action and track progress. The announcement is building on our existing Sustainable Energy Generation Plan, advancing our previous pledge to cut emissions in our full value chain by 67% by 2050, and reaffirming our ambitious near-term target to cut greenhouse gas emission in our full value chain by 27% by 2025. My vision for the future is one where we will be looking at investing in both financial capital as well as non-financial capital to create holistic value across the board and ultimately create a world where performance, people, and the planet could coexist in a sustainable way. This is at the heart of the economics of mutuality, which more and more organizations are looking into.
Thank you, Mr. Apert, for a fascinating example. Our next guest is Mr. Takeshi Okuma, President and CEO of Fujitsu Client Computing Limited. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Okuma.
Hi, I'm Takeshi Okuma of Fujitsu Client Computing Limited. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk at Fujitsu Activate Now as a related company named after Fujitsu. Our company was established as a subsidiary of Fujitsu in 2016 and started as a joint venture between Lenovo and Fujitsu in 2018. We have 1,900 people based in Kawasaki, Shimane, Germany, Taiwan, and ship about 4 million units of PC and other client computing devices every year. Now, we live in the era of VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That means the future of any industry is uncertain, and no one can prepare it perfectly. In our industry, unexpected situations such as COVID-19 and subsequent semiconductor supply shortage are putting significant business pressure one after another. Today, I would like to introduce our efforts in the resilient supply chain domain. To summarize our supply chain initiatives, I would say we have the following 3 stages: local BCM, global network, and end-to-end flexibility. First stage is local BCM. Since we are still a division of Fujitsu, we have been working to ensure business continuity in case of emergency. We call it Business Continuity Management, BCM. Specifically, we were preparing for the consideration of alternative site manufacturing. We worked together with multiple internal manufacturing sites to improve our readiness for manufacturing disruptions. Thanks to this effort, in the Great East Japan earthquake in 2011, we were able to transfer production from Fukushima to Shimane in 12 days after the disaster. minimizing the impact on product supply. By learning from that experience, we have evolved BCM by revising the production manual and conducting trial manufacturing. Second stage is global network. After forming a joint venture with Lenovo, our supply chain options have expanded significantly as Lenovo has more than 10 times bigger global operations than FCCL alone. In addition to our development and production sites in Shimane, Germany, and Taiwan, we have been able to access Lenovo's global network. In addition, we are now able to utilize ODM, EMS, and suppliers together with Lenovo. As a result, we can produce products close to the end user markets. With that, we can optimize parts and inventory management. Now, we are working to continue to change the optimal supply chain network dynamically while looking at the changing supply-demand situation. The last stage is end-to-end flexibility. It's impossible to look ahead in uncertain times, so how much mobility and flexibility you have is key. For example, because of the recent lockdown in Vietnam, manufacturing at one of our suppliers' factories was suddenly and completely suspended. To respond to that, we tried to find alternative factories and alternative suppliers. And we rushed to qualify alternative components by working with both development team and sales team. This can only be done when we work with not only our own supply chain team, but also entire organization and external partners such as suppliers and ODMs. Typically, we evaluate QCD in supplier selection, quality, cost, and delivery. But now, it is necessary to evaluate suppliers from the BCM perspective as well. In fact, the BCP development rate of our suppliers has increased from 57% in 2011 to 78% over 5 years and ever increasing. However, to ensure end-to-end flexibility in cooperation with external companies, it is necessary to make efforts in multiple dimensions. For example, ensure compatibility of production management systems, securely exchange confidential information in the event of emergency. I think that digital transformation by solution providers will be critical to support these efforts. So, I would like to look forward to Fujitsu's initiative in supporting manufacturing companies like us. For us, Fujitsu is both a shareholder and a business partner for commercial business. It's very encouraging to see Fujitsu's focus on sustainable manufacturing by utilizing digital technology. FCCL takes the role of manufacturing within the group. So, we would like to collaborate in various ways so that we can contribute to sustainable manufacturing together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Okuma. Our next guest is Mr. So Kato, Chairperson of the Glass Recycling Committee of Japan and Chairperson of the Board Director, Crystal Clay Corporation. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Kato.
My name is So Kato, GRCJ, Glass Recycling Committee of Japan. I will give a lecture on concept of the global optimal glass and the ceramic recycling system. This is very interesting. Code name is GREAT, G-R-E-A-T, Glass Recycling Advanced Technologies. This is a Crystal Clay company. I'm a chairman of the board. And this corporate motto, sustainability. This is 25 years ago. This founded in 1993. And this is already recycling committees, recycling based on container recycling law enforced 1995. And we are collecting each industry field glass our target. For instance, GML, like a personal computer and flat displays using GML, liquid crystal glass. Next is GMPV, glass material PV. And A, architecture. This is depend on many recycling laws in Japan. Overall, optimized projects. Left side, many kind of automobile PV were collecting and balance, composition, color, impurities content, and the important transportation distance is very important now. And horizontal recycle, vehicle to vehicle, flat glass. But it's difficult to recycle horizontal. And then we are bottle, glass fiber, beads, ceramics. Next, this is a great project. We are collecting so kind of glass. Firstly, separation technology, and then sorting technology, and logistics, and one more thing is resourcing. This is a key technology, resourcing. And then next phase is like a crystal clay, material proportion, mixed proportion, and making starting materials. This is a model of effective supply chain managed based on commerce. Glass categories. Upper side, this is a field. For instance, left side up, glass material B, bottle, GMB. Next, GMA, glass material A, architectures. These key fields is very important. And then glass categories, bottle making soda lime glass. But red squares, GMPV, using soda lime and aluminum borosilicate glass. This is the image of an information platform here. We are making consortiums, recycling companies, collection companies. This is around important things. And digital transformation, data platform we are now making. This is a models. One more thing. This shows the amount of a contribution to LCA CO2 reduction by glass recycling. For instance, life cycle inventories, we should be considered. Family material too. We are expecting to utilize the digital transformations toward achievement of carbon neutrality based on 2015 COP21 Paris Agreement. Final aim is at 2050 carbon neutral, zero. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kato, for a fascinating example. And now we would like to hear again from Mr. Onishi about the future vision of manufacturing that Fujitsu considers. Mr. Onishi, please join us again.
Hello again. Firstly, I would like to touch on the challenges that manufacturing industry is now facing. 10 years ago, many of the issues that we face today were considered as threats for the distant future. But in recent years, the huge natural disasters, which bring significant damage with them, have significantly increased. A recent survey shows that the number of disasters causing more than one death, or more than a given amount of damages, has increased from 200 cases in 1980 to 800 cases in 2018. Here in Japan, the economic loss from Typhoon 19 in 2019 was 1.65 trillion yen, approximately $50 billion US, that the worst losses globally. It is predicted that temperature in the globe will be raised by 4 degrees Celsius by the end of this century, and that sea levels will rise by 82 centimeters. In Japan, it is forecast that fraud possibilities will rise fourfold. COVID-19 changed our life a lot. The acceleration of digitalization, as well as the pandemic rebound, brought a shortage in semiconductor product. One market survey forecast sales losses of 23 trillion yen, the equivalent of $200 billion in 2021 among automotive companies alone. The intensifying political confrontation between the United States and China is putting increasing pressure on manufacturers to secure critical materials and natural resources. The supply of rare metals, which are indispensable to the manufacturing industry, has become an urgent issue, as has disrupted supply chains. Shortage of labor and skills shortage are now one of the major issues for developed countries. In Japan, more than 40% of companies say that labor shortage is one of the most important management issues. That's for both large enterprises and small to medium-sized enterprises. In the United States, there are the extreme cases of job mismatches between job employers and job seekers. This is due to the aging labor population, the lack of succession policies. This is combined with a loss of craftsmanship and know-how, which has shown up recently in surveys. Most developed countries are now setting targets for a carbon-free society and putting in place actions to hit their targets. Similarly, the manufacturing industry will be required to fulfill a variety of measures to achieve a carbon-free society to continue to be able to run their businesses. Those companies should see these measures as a trigger and an opportunity to open up new business opportunities. With all these new scenarios that I have just described, there is increasing uncertainty and the market forcing drastic changes in management. What we at Fujitsu are seeing is something called the OODA loop. In addition to all of this, our supply chains will not be able to improve their performance just by improving the efficiency of current methods and processes. In future, we will need to pay more attention to market data directly, and as a consequence, we will see more changes in product design and portfolios. We are already seeing cases, business models being changed from the point of diversification to focus on product planning from the perspective of market needs. This has led to design being outsourced, as well as trial and mass production. So, what are Fujitsu's recommendations to help address these challenges? Firstly, what we need to do is to develop a holistic view through visualization of all corporate activity, from engineering design through to manufacturing and covering the whole supply chain. From that point, we can establish an infrastructure that allows management decisions to be made based on data. In this way, an organization's management style can move from the rigidness and dependency on an original plan, and instead, it can now be flexible to changes that happen and take corrective actions immediately. Where there are challenges created by labor shortage or skills gap, we recommend the implementation of automation and digitalization using robot and AI. Taking this path enhances the skill of the employees you do have and covers your current labor shortages. This will also enable you to establish a succession plan for technical skills, techniques, and the know-how of skilled workers who may be retiring. The current working situation of all must be on-site is no longer sustainable, and you should be looking to establish a combination of remote and on-site setups. This will make it possible to expand your regional business environment even during the COVID era. New business models such as D2C and OTA will help you adapt quickly to market needs which are diversifying rapidly. Being able to trace materials and products from end to end is also becoming crucial as we seek to reduce waste and optimize demand and supply. Circularity rate, or the percentage of material reuse, is only 9% globally. We need to change that trend in the use of waste. To improve in this area, we need to consider our collaboration and partnering with other companies. The key considerations here are that joint infrastructure between our partner and ourselves must be trustworthy and, most importantly, secure from the increasing security threats and that we all face. This new joint infrastructure also needs to be flexible enough to change configuration when faced with a threat. It is pretty hard to predict or forecast some of the scenarios that the market went through recently. Think pandemics, natural disasters, political confusion, uncertainty. What is for sure is that our customers increasingly expect us to be able to recover supply chain almost immediately. Despite all these unpredictable challenges, supply chain resiliency is our way of combating uncertainty. New changes in international law working towards a carbon-free world mean that companies who are not able to provide the necessary certification will face severe penalties and also a threat to their business's ability to continue. Monitoring greenhouse gas emissions in all business processes will lead to a reduction in greenhouse gas. This will also make it easier to identify the cause of problems and take the necessary action to maintain carbon-free compliance. Fujitsu has defined sustainable manufacturing as the future vision of manufacturing. Our manufacturing values are based around 5 themes. Enterprise visualization, which is the ability to visualize corporate activities and provide connecting foundations across the entire supply chain. People enablement, which is helping to forecast labor imbalances and consequently predict where there may be a loss of craftsmanship as a result. Value chain optimization, which is put in place and optimizing your cross-industry ecosystem. Resilient supply chain, which is securing your supply chain against global disasters, international political risks, and eventualities. Carbon neutrality, which is the many ways and multifaceted contributions we can all make towards decarbonization. We have deep dive sessions that will cover each of these 5 themes. Please visit the sessions for detailed explanation. Finally, I'd like to talk about the role which Fujitsu plays on the journey towards sustainable manufacturing and the value which Fujitsu can bring to its customers who decide to take the path to sustainable manufacturing. Fujitsu is at its heart a manufacturing company. Manufacturing is in our DNA. We manufacture some of the most sophisticated and powerful computers globally. Through our deep manufacturing experience, we have established the cyber-physical system which uses digitalization technologies. We have lots of practical know-how that has come as a consequence of developing that system. Based on the experience and know-how we have built through our own transformation, we are now ready and well experienced to share our transformation practices with others. Our experiences is built on proposing and implementing manufacturing solutions, as well as collaboration schemes to companies in both engineering and supply chain areas. The understanding that we have developed of end-to-end operations and the entire supply chain that's involved in manufacturing is where Fujitsu can provide real value to our customers. From initial design to production line manufacturing, our know-how translates into the highest level of optimization. And being able to solve any trade-off issues a customer may need to make for various scenarios. We are also able to bring strategic collaboration with global partners like SAP and Siemens to bear. Our most trusted technologies, which include high-performance computing, AI, and securities, and handle huge volume of data and cognitive insights. Powerful tools in a world that brings such uncertainty to the industry of manufacturing. Industrial know-how, experience, and advanced technology. These are the values that we bring to you as an ICT partner. We would like to work together in partnership to advance the future of global manufacturing partnerships.
Thank you, Mr. Onishi. This is the end of this session, Sustainable Manufacturing in the VUCA Era, Manufacturing in Harmony with the Planet. We would be happy if this session has hinted at the efforts you might make in your own companies towards sustainable manufacturing. But of course, if Fujitsu can help, please do not hesitate to contact us. Fujitsu will be your partner and work together towards sustainable manufacturing. Thank you for attending today's session. We hope you found the content to be useful and engaging. Please click the link on the screen to answer a brief survey and ask any questions you may have. We appreciate your feedback.